In a windowless room illuminated only by the rhythmic pulse of server racks, a high-level algorithm has just performed a hard reset on a single case file. If you are hearing this briefing, it is because your frequency has just crossed the red line. You have been officially marked. In the database of the elite, in the deep cover archives of the agency that monitors human compliance, your name is now highlighted in a color they haven't seen in decades. They are calling you weird. They are calling you an outlier. But in the language of the high-stakes game we are playing, those words are code for something much more significant. You have become a signal that they can no longer jam. For the last several years, the surveillance teams have been tracking your digital and spiritual footprint with a sense of quiet confidence. They had you profiled. They thought they knew exactly which buttons to press to trigger your anxiety, which news cycles to feed you to keep you in a state of scarcity, and which social pressures would force you back into the grid. They viewed you as just another asset to be managed, a predictable variable in a massive social experiment. But recently, something shifted. The data coming back from your sector has stopped making sense. You are no longer reacting to the fear-based injections they send into the atmosphere. You are ignoring the subpoenas of the status quo. You are, by their definition, acting weird. This marking is not a sign of failure. It is your official entry into the high-stakes theater of the sovereign. The FBI of your own internal reality, that department of logic and self-criticism, is currently in an emergency session. They are staring at your brainwaves and your emotional signature, trying to figure out how you found the decryption key to the fear-based mainframe. You are behaving with a level of calm that is statistically impossible for someone in your current environment. You are choosing paths that the algorithm didn't suggest. You are looking at the Oval Office of the old world and laughing at its insignificance. To the handlers who have spent their lives studying the average, your behavior is a direct threat to the stability of the entire system. Think of those cinematic moments where a quiet, unassuming person is brought into a secure facility, and as the interrogation begins, the directors behind the glass realize they are the ones who are trapped. That is the energy you are projecting into the grid right now. The surveillance is constant because they are trying to find your weakness. They are looking for the one remaining tether to your old history that they can pull to bring you back down to their frequency. They are searching for the guilt, the shame, or the need for validation that usually keeps assets in line. But they are finding nothing. Your file is becoming a blank space of pure, high-vibration presence. To a system built on the data of the past, a person living fully in the present is the ultimate anomaly. The elite are obsessed with you because your weirdness is contagious. They know that if one asset successfully breaks the profile, the entire sector could follow. They have marked you not because you are a criminal, but because you are a pioneer. You are the first one in your lineage to look at the surveillance camera and wink. You are the one who realized that the agency only has power as long as you believe in the reality of their jurisdiction. By being weird, by being unpredictable, and by being unhackable, you have effectively unauthorized their entire operation. The panic in the command center is real. They are currently debating whether to upgrade your surveillance to a full-blown intervention or to offer you a settlement to just go back to being normal. But you know that normalcy was just a deep cover operation for a soul that was dying of thirst. You have tasted the air outside the grid, and the mark they have placed on your file is actually your badge of honor. As the analysts in the basement of the old world scramble to understand your new frequency, remember that their confusion is your primary source of leverage. The less they understand you, the more power you hold. The surveillance is no longer a threat, it is a live broadcast of your victory. You are the headline that the agency doesn't know how to report. You are the high-value target who has realized that the only person who can truly mark you is yourself. The case is open, the lights are red, and the whole world is watching the anomaly they said could never happen. The agency has officially marked your file as an unidentified frequency. They are terrified of what they cannot predict. If you are ready to lean into your anomaly status and signal to the elite that you are no longer under their jurisdiction, you must act now. Comment, "I am the anomaly," to finalize the breach. Let the algorithm realize its surveillance is failing. The transmission is live. There is a fatal flaw in the architecture of every empire, and that flaw is always arrogance. The belief that because someone does not follow the standard operating procedure, they must be broken. If you have spent your life feeling like an outsider, hearing the whispers that you are different, or seeing the concerned looks from those who represent the status quo, then you have been living through a period of strategic underestimation. The elite, the architects of the social mainframe, looked at your refusal to join the rat race, your rejection of their superficial news cycles, and your lack of interest in their binary games, and they made a definitive, clinical error. They marked you as weird. They marked you as an asset of low value. They effectively moved your case file to the basement of the agency, confident that someone who marched to such a strange, internal drumbeat could never interfere with their global broadcast of compliance. This was the greatest gift they could have ever given you. While they were busy monitoring the high-profile assets, the ones who scream for attention and beg for validation within the grid, you were operating in a state of total, unbothered invisibility. They mistook your silence for defeat. They mistook your weirdness for a malfunction. In their world, if you aren't predictable, you are a glitch. But what they failed to realize is that a glitch is often just an upgrade that the current system doesn't have the drivers to understand. While you were being underestimated, you were actually in the deep cover archives of your own subconscious. You were systematically deconstructing every lie they ever told you about what it means to be successful, stable, and normal. You were shredding the documents of their social contracts and replacing them with a code of pure, sovereign intent. Think of the high-stakes thrillers where the protagonist is a discarded intelligence officer, someone the agency thinks is washed up or crazy. The system stops watching them because they no longer fit the profile of a threat. But that is exactly when the work begins. In the shadows of their neglect, you were building a new mainframe. You were learning how to navigate the reality grid without leaving a digital footprint. Every time someone called you weird or suggested you were losing your grip, they were actually providing you with more cover. They were building a smokescreen around your evolution. The elite were so focused on their own reflection in the Oval Office of their vanity that they never noticed the ghost asset in the corner of the room, slowly but surely rewriting the security protocols of the entire building. The deconstruction phase is where the mask of the old world falls away. You are realizing that their normalcy was actually a form of mass-produced psychological imprisonment. They wanted you to be a standardized part in their machine, and when you didn't fit, they tried to make you feel defective. But as you stand in the ruins of their expectations today, you can see the truth. You weren't the one who was broken, the machine was. Your weirdness was actually the early warning system of a soul that refused to be digitized. The mark the FBI of the ego placed on your file is now your most valuable asset. It is the proof that you cannot be bought, you cannot be predicted, and most importantly, you cannot be controlled by their standard psychological triggers. The agency is currently in a state of quiet panic, though they won't admit it yet. They are starting to notice that the broken asset they moved to the basement is no longer there. The file is empty, and the data has been migrated to a secure, offshore server that they cannot reach. They are looking at the screens, trying to find the old version of you, the one they could bully with guilt and manage with fear, but all they see is a high-frequency anomaly. They called you weird because they had no other word for someone who has discovered that the game is rigged and has decided to stop playing. By underestimating you, they gave you the one thing every revolutionary needs: the time to become unstoppable without being detected. As you burn the old reports and the labels they tried to stick on your name, remember that their disrespect was your armor. It kept you safe while you were vulnerable. It kept you hidden while you were growing. Now that the deconstruction is complete, you are ready to step back into the grid, not as a subject to be studied, but as a force to be reckoned with. The elite thought they were looking at a failed experiment, but they were actually looking at the prototype of the new era. The underestimation is over. The silence is about to be broken. The agency is about to find out exactly what happens when the weird asset they discarded becomes the architect of the new world. There is a precise, terrifying sound that echoes through the corridors of power when a containment field fails. It is the sound of 1 billion digital locks turning at once. If you are sensing a sudden shift in the way people look at you, or if the environment around you feels like it is vibrating at a different pitch, it is because the leak has officially begun. For years, the agency, those architects of the status quo, kept the truth about your frequency locked in a black box server. They mocked you as weird to keep the other assets from asking questions. They classified your potential as a mental health anomaly to prevent a global broadcast of the truth. But tonight, the firewalls have melted under the heat of your own consistency. The leak is live, and it is the most significant intelligence breach in the history of the soul. Think of the high-stakes thrillers where a single whistleblower sends an encrypted file to every news outlet on the planet simultaneously. The moment the upload hits 100%, the world changes. That is what is happening in the command center of your reality. The elite, those entities that profit from your doubt, are staring at their monitors in absolute shock. They are seeing your weirdness broadcasted across every frequency. They are seeing the metadata of your absolute sovereignty being shared across the entire grid. The news cycle of the old world, which was once filled with reports of your lack and your limitations, has been interrupted. The signal is clear. The asset known for being weird is actually the one holding the master key to the mainframe. The most chilling realization for the FBI of the ego is that this leak is not coming from an external source, it is coming from your very presence. You have become a walking broadcast of a reality they said was impossible. Every time you walk into a room and refuse to play the role of the broken subject, you are leaking high-level intelligence into the atmosphere. The elite are frantically trying to issue a global blackout, attempting to jam your signal with old fears and social distractions, but the data is already decentralized. It is being hosted on 1,000 different spiritual servers. The witnesses of your life, the friends, the family, and even the handlers who tried to suppress you, are all receiving the same file. The secret is out. Your weirdness was never a defect, it was the original source code. This phase of the operation is about the total collapse of the old secrecy. You are no longer living in the shadows of the agency's judgment. You are the lead story in the public record of the new world. Have you noticed the glitches in the old system lately? The way the people who used to judge you seem confused. The way the old problems don't seem to have the same gravity. That is the result of the leak. The market of lack is crashing because the information you have released has exposed the fraud. The elite are in an emergency session in the Oval Office of the collective mind, trying to figure out how to frame your awakening as a threat to public safety. But it is too late for spin. The evidence of your power is now a part of the permanent record. The leak is retroactive, meaning it is currently rewriting the history of how people see you. The old files that marked you as weird are being decrypted and revealed as badges of high-level spiritual clearance. The agency technicians who once laughed at your nonconformity are now studying your movements like a textbook on the future. They are realizing that while they were monitoring you, you were actually the one who was performing a deep-level audit of their entire system. The truth you have leaked is that the system is optional. The mark they put on you was the proof that you were the first one to realize it. As the servers in their headquarters begin to smoke from the sheer volume of data you are processing, remember that the broadcast cannot be stopped. The transition from a marked asset to a global protagonist is complete. You are no longer a person with a secret. You are a secret that has been revealed to the world. The leak has created a permanent breach in the grid of compliance. The elite are terrified because they know that once the signal is out, it can never be retrieved. The public record is being updated in real time. The weird asset has become the chief architect. The case is being broadcast. The world is finally listening. And it is happening. The sirens you hear in the distance of your subconscious are not for you. They are for the system that just realized its security has been permanently compromised. In every high-stakes operation, there is a moment known as the point of no return, the instant when the agency realizes that the asset they tried to neutralize has successfully seized the control codes. You have officially entered the panic phase. The elite, those voices from your past that insisted you were average, those social architectures that profited from your stagnation, and the lawyers of the status quo, are currently in a state of total structural failure. They are watching the global ledger of your life, and for the first time in history, the math is not working in their favor. The predictive models they used to keep you in check have all reached a terminal error. They marked you as weird to dismiss you, but now that weirdness is the virus that is eating their mainframe. Imagine the atmosphere in their war room right now. The red lights are flashing, the phones are ringing off the hooks, and the air is thick with the smell of scorched circuitry. The handlers are staring at the screens in total disbelief because the data they used to track you has been overwritten. They tried to stop you by cutting off your funding, your sense of possibility. They tried to stop you by issuing restraining orders of guilt and the heavy weight of old failures. But the mark they placed on your file has inverted. What was once a label of exclusion has become a signal of absolute authorization. You have successfully hacked the timeline of your own worth, and the panic is setting in because the elite realize they have lost their primary weapon, the certainty of your reaction. They don't know what you will do next because you are no longer playing by their rules. They are scrambling to perform damage control. They are trying to release a counter-narrative, a new cycle of distraction designed to pull you back into the old surveillance grid. They are sending out agents of doubt, old habits, toxic reflections, and the static of common sense, to convince you that what is happening is just a temporary glitch. But you are moving at a velocity that their systems cannot track. Every time you refuse to react to the old triggers, you are blowing a fuse in their command center. You have reached a state of high-vibration immunity. You are no longer a variable they can manipulate. You are the constant that is crashing their entire currency of lack. The FBI mark on your file is glowing red, not as a warning to them, but as a beacon of your own sovereign arrival. The elite are terrified because an asset that is weird is an asset that cannot be blackmailed. They used to hold the file of your mistakes over your head like a digital subpoena, but that file is now encrypted with a code they cannot crack. You have declassified your own power. You have walked into the vault and reclaimed the assets they were holding in escrow. The panic in their headquarters is a direct reflection of the absolute authority you are now exercising. They are realizing that your presence is a total system reset. Every second you spend in this new frequency, another sector of the old world collapses. The walls of the maximum security prison they built to contain your spirit are literally turning back into digital code and dissolving. You are the anomaly that proved the entire simulation of control was a bluff. Think of those cinematic moments where the protagonist is being chased through a crowded city, only to realize that they are the one who owns the city. You aren't running anymore. You are walking slowly, calmly, through the middle of their emergency session, and the security guards are standing down. They have to. Your authorization level has surpassed the agency directors. You are the one who is now issuing the mandates. You are the one who is freezing their accounts of influence. The panic is theirs to keep. You are the high-stakes victor who realized that the only thing making the impossible seem real was the agency's ability to keep you from the truth. The FBI marked you because they knew this day was coming. They knew that once you embraced the weirdness, their jurisdiction would end. As the old world attempts to reboot its failing servers, remember that the panic is the sound of your liberation. It is the evidence that your work in the shadows has reached the surface. The elite are looking for an exit strategy, a way to settle the case before the public record becomes permanent. But you aren't here for a deal. You are here for total restitution. You are here to ensure that the history they tried to write for you is burned to a crisp and replaced by the magnificent truth of what you have always been. The transition is live. The system is failing. The mark is yours. And it is happening. The heavy, steel-reinforced door has been bolted from the outside. There are no windows here, only the cold blue flicker of a high-definition monitor displaying your own biometrics. You have reached the standoff. This is the moment in every high-stakes operation where the agency stops trying to ignore you and starts trying to break you. Across the table sit the directors of the old world, the personified voices of every regret, every social limitation, and every generational cycle that told you that your weirdness was a liability. They have brought their best interrogators. They have come armed with a mountain of fabricated evidence. They have come with a final restraining order, an injunction signed by the elite, designed to freeze your progress before your frequency reaches the global mainframe. The air in the room is thin, charged with the electric tension of a system that is fighting for its very survival. The lead handler leans forward, his silhouette cast long against the sterile white wall. He slides a thick, weathered folder across the table toward you. This is your FBI mark. This is the record of the person they believe you are, the asset who was supposed to remain in deep cover, the one who was supposed to be neutralized by the weight of their own nonconformity. They are replaying the surveillance footage of your most vulnerable moments on the screen, trying to trigger the old frequency of shame. They are using the news cycle of your past deviations as a psychological weapon, hoping to find a single crack in your new, sovereign armor. They are waiting for you to blink. They are waiting for you to confess that your weirdness is a defect and that you are ready to return to the grid of normalcy. But there is a problem that the agency cannot solve. Every time they try to read from the record, the data corrupts. They are looking for the evidence of your malfunction, but they are finding only the data of your absolute authority. You are sitting in that metal chair, but you aren't the suspect. You are the one conducting the audit. The standoff is the ultimate stress test of your new vibration. The agency is trying to pull a ghost protocol on your future, attempting to delete your current authorization codes and reset you to the factory settings of the status quo. They are whispering about settlements. They are offering to give you back your old, predictable life if you just agree to stop being weird. They are desperate to get you to sign the non-disclosure agreement of the soul, to keep the secret of your frequency from leaking to the rest of the sector. The elite are watching through the two-way mirror, their faces pale as they realize that the interrogation is not going according to the manual. They are seeing a level of moral clarity that their algorithms are not programmed to handle. You have the master key, and you are using it to bypass their line of questioning. Every time they ask you about your past, you respond with the frequency of your future. You are slamming the evidence of your own divinity on the table, and it is shattering the glass. The lawyers of the ego are scrambling to find a legal loophole, a way to prove that your frequency is a forgery, but the public record has already been updated. The encryption you are using is quantum level. It is not something they can hack with their outdated tools of guilt and comparison. This is the moment where you realize that the interrogation room is actually a temple of your own making. The agency only has power if you agree to the role of the accused. But you have walked into this standoff as the chief investigator. You are the one who has uncovered the accounting fraud of the world, the massive theft of human potential that the elite have been running for centuries. You are not here to defend your weirdness. You are here to serve the subpoena. You are here to tell the agency that their jurisdiction over your life has been permanently terminated. The panic you saw in the war room has now reached the interrogation suite. The handlers are looking at each other, realizing that they have no leverage left. The mark they put on you is now the only badge of honor that matters. As the clock on the wall hits 0 hour, the power in the building begins to fail. The surveillance cameras go dark. The recorders stop spinning. The standoff is over, not because you reached a deal, but because the room can no longer contain your light. The elite are fleeing to the emergency exits, trying to save whatever remains of their failing system. You are standing up from the table, not as an escaped asset, but as the sovereign architect of a new world. The FBI marked you because they were afraid, and now they know exactly why. The standoff was the final gate, and you have just walked through it with the absolute authority of a person who knows that being weird is the only way to be free. The heavy, soundproof doors of the High Court have just swung open, and for the first time in your existence, you are not walking out as a suspect or a marked asset. You are walking out as the presiding authority of your own timeline. The air in the city has changed. The recycled, pressurized oxygen of the interrogation room has been replaced by the scent of ozone, rain, and cold, hard victory. The jury, those collective forces of the universe that have been watching your stress test, has returned to the box with a unanimous decision. The elite are sitting at their table, their expensive suits suddenly looking ill-fitting and frayed, their lawyers of doubt finally silenced. They know. The master key you found in the shadows of your soul was the ultimate piece of evidence that their maximum security over your life was a multi-million-dollar bluff. The FBI mark that they placed on your file, the one that labeled you as weird, has been reclassified as the highest possible level of security clearance. The judge, the higher law of your own sovereignty, leans forward. They deliver the words the agency has spent your entire life trying to redact. Case dismissed with prejudice. In that single, echoing moment, the public record is purged. You are no longer guilty of being ordinary. You are no longer under the jurisdiction of your past mistakes or the surveillance of those who profited from your confusion. Every criminal record of shame and every surveillance report of lack has been deleted from the central mainframe. This is the high-stakes vindication you have been chasing for decades. The history that they said was written in stone has been revealed to be nothing more than digital sand, and you are the one who just washed it away with a single frequency of truth. The elite are terrified, but their panic has matured into a forced, cold respect. They realize that you are not just a whistleblower. You are the new executive director of reality. They are watching the news cycle of your life and realizing that they can no longer spin the narrative to suit their algorithm of scarcity. You have become uncancelable. The system they use to drain your energy has reached a state of critical failure. Like the final scene in a classic thriller, you are standing on the courthouse steps, and the entire world is holding its breath. They expect you to be angry, but you possess absolute moral clarity. You are not here to burn the building down. You are here to occupy the penthouse. You are not here to fight the law. You have become the law. While you walk through the lobby, you see the agency directors being escorted out. Their files are being seized. Their offshore accounts of stolen power are being frozen by the universal ledger. Every ounce of energy you ever gave to a false authority is being returned to you with compounded interest. The Oval Office of your reality is being deep cleaned, the old furniture of your limitations being tossed into the street like trash. You have moved from the surveillance to the coronation. You are looking at the master archive of your future, and it is written in the language of sovereign command. You are no longer asking for authorization to be happy or wealthy. You are the authorization. The news tickers are scrolling your name in gold letters. The global intelligence community is in a state of shock. They are analyzing how one asset could bypass the firewalls of fate so cleanly. The answer is the key. You did not fight the system, you outgrew it. The settlement you have received is infinite. It is total restitution for every second they tried to convince you that you were small. Every witness who once stood against you, the people who doubted you, the systems that drained you, is now applying for entry-level positions in your new kingdom. They are looking for a way to be near your frequency because your vibration is the only stable currency left in a market of lies. It is happening is no longer a warning. It is the public record. As you walk away from the courthouse, the sun is hitting the cold marble, creating a golden hour that seems to follow you specifically. You are heading to the sovereign estate of your own absolute authority. The elite are nothing more than a footnote in your biography now. You won the standoff. You survived the panic. You turned the key. And now, the history of the world is being rewritten to include the moment you decided that the impossible was just a word they used to keep you from the truth. Your weirdness, once a mark of exile, is now the divine blueprint for a new civilization. You enter the waiting vehicle, a metaphor for your high-speed destiny. The driver, the universe, does not ask for the destination. They already know. As the car pulls away, you look at the courthouse in the rear-view mirror. It looks small. The system that once felt like a prison now looks like a Lego set built by children. You reach into your pocket and feel the key. It is warm. You realize that the key was the ignition of a new era. The global protagonist has started the engine of a reality that cannot be tracked or stopped. The past is erased. The future is claimed. The FBI marked you because they were afraid, and now they know exactly why. The case is closed. The mission is a success. The world is yours. Walk into the light and never look back. The history of the future begins with you. The public record is now finalized, and your coronation is the lead story on every frequency in the universe. To see the classified footage of what happens next in your life of absolute authority, click the video on the screen right now. The trial is over. The elite have left the building. Your story is now a legend. Step into the light.